Porzingis made his return the other night for the Celtics, and what already looked like an NBA championship caliber team showed off a whole nother gear. Justin Turpin from weei.com. Turp joining us here on Jones and Keefe for his weekly appearance. First of all, Turp, how we doing? Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
What people want to know is, were you able to get out of that speeding ticket?
People do want to know that.
You're
actually,
damn right I was.
We were getting a lot of texts about that earlier in the week. It was it was on the speeding ticket. What was it?
It was an improper lane change, but we are free now. We are off the hook.
Nice.
How about that?
A free man.
Innocent.
What a feeling. Feels like you have some free money now, because you were probably had to put some aside thinking, like, what if I get...
Now it's going to the Bozo. That's
Hell
where
yeah.
it's going.
Oh, I like that.
Directly to the Bozo TD parlay.
You represented yourself. You defended yourself. You didn't know...
A confident individual. I
Shirt
did it
and tie?
myself. I did. I threw on a tie.
Smart.
I did it.
Business Turp.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Dressed
All
to
business
impress.
White House Turp.
Yeah, White House Turp.
Well, that was a suit. That was suited and booted.
Full suit.
Yeah.
Man, guy cleans up nice.
I'd see him in not a suit, and I'd say, you know what? Throw the book out.
You're coming with us.
No, you do not have the rights to an attorney. So Porzingis comes back the other day. He looked pretty good. Where do you think the Celtics have missed him the most?
Definitely on their rim protection. That's been one of the biggest issues for them, is the points in the paint for opponents. And you look at it, they had 11 blocks in his first game back. They hadn't had a double-digit block game all season before then.
Why do you think that turned into like a team-wide thing? Because he only had 2, I think.
It's more so just having him back there, that they're allowed to play a little bit more aggressively, and they can also play different coverages because of his versatility, which is just huge for them. So you saw him make an impact there right away. And I know Clippers obviously had, I think it was still like 54 points in the paint, which isn't great, but a lot of that was from Zubac. So that's going to happen, but he definitely shored that up, an area that they really needed help in.
You know, we were talking about this, how Brad Stevens was on the broadcast, and you could tell he was annoyed every time they gave up a layup. But my kind of theory is Mazzulla's probably good with it. Like, doesn't want dunks and, like, super easy points, but every time the opponent takes a 2, I feel like Mazzulla thinks that's a win.
Yeah, it depends on the type of 2 it is. Like, some of them they're willing to let opponents take. They're really analytical in that sense of who they're willing to let take certain shots and whatnot. And I am with you, because they like to take, if you want to play the 2 for 3 game, they'll do it. It's all a math game with the Celtics. And look they hit 15 threes in the first half and 12 in the second quarter alone on Monday. So if you're not going to beat them by scoring 2s if they're shooting the lights out like that.
For our listeners who are unaware, Turp's young. How old are you, Turp?
22.
22. You just called it a math game. Do you
number crunchers?
Yeah,
do
you like the style of basketball, the modern day basketball? Do you enjoy that, or are you just like, that's just basketball because you're so young?
I do, because I find it so fascinating the way the Celtics do it. When you have a guy like Porzingis, and like everyone says the 3-point shots the Celtics are taking are ruining the NBA, which I just can't disagree more. I think it's actually very entertaining. In all of the top 8 for the Celtics, that's Hauser, Pritchard, not Cornette, Tatum, Brown, White, Holiday, Pritchard, Hauser, Horford, and Porzingis. All of them are league average 3-point shooters or better. So it's their ability to space the floor, and then you have to pick between who you're going to let shoot an open 3. It's just fascinating, the mind games that they play with other teams. I really do enjoy it.
Are you worried at all the NBA is going the way of baseball, where now it's overanalyzed and there's too much emphasis on, because like we all like home runs in baseball, but when everybody's swinging for a home run, you get a lot of, guys who can't do it, guys who are striking out. Yeah. It gets reduced to a game that becomes less watchable. We all like points. We all like home runs, but we also don't like what happened with baseball. Are you worried about that at all with the direction of the NBA?
I'm not, because it really starts on the defensive end for the Celtics, right? So a lot of back then, they always wanted to see defense. Like, you guys love defense, probably. Like, that's what they...
Not true.
Old heads.
Not true. No.
I really don't.
Yeah, but that they start with the defensive end. So I'm not really worried about that. And they can score in different ways. And going back to Porzingis, like, look at in the third quarter, obviously it didn't really matter because they had a huge lead, but the Clippers were on a 13-2 run. When the Celtics needed to snap that run because their shots weren't falling, they went to Porzingis right in the post. He shot over Harden the first time for 2 and then got fouled on the very next possession. And just like that, the offense was leveled out again. So they have different avenues to score. It's not all just 3-point shots. And granted, a lot of it is, but it's not all 3-point shooting.
All right, wild hypothetical. If the Celtics had prime Shaquille O'Neal, Do you think Joe Mazzulla would teach him to shoot threes and want him to shoot threes? Or would he be okay with him just stuffing guys down in the paint?
I think he'd be okay with him stuffing guys in the paint. Because guys,
I feel like he'd be like, hey, Shaq, at practice, why don't you step out here and see
Oh,
what
they
that
would
looks?
definitely shoot him in practice.
They would.
100%. But I don't know if they would in the game because guys like Cornette doesn't shoot him in the game, but he'll shoot them in practice.
Wait,
Same with Cada.
Why does Cornette not shoot threes
So
in the game?
bizarre.
Because he used to do it before he got here. He's like the opposite. Most guys maybe don't, and then they have to here. He doesn't
It's
here.
the polar opposite of Al Horford, who developed a three-point shot. Luke Cornette almost like lost his. He just doesn't take him anymore.
they
And
freaking
he's very
tried.
capable of it.
Did they have Time Lord shooting threes when he was here?
They were working on it right before they traded.
yeah.
Remember all
Not
the
in games,
videos?
but like
No, definitely not.
No, they were.
I do-
There were clips of him.
I do vaguely remember that. Yeah.
doing like corner threes and stuff. And you're
So
like, what?
doesn't that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, I guess. But he wasn't as dominant a scorer down
No.
low.
I mean, for sure. I mean, he's not Shaq, but
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like a
Yeah,
player
they
like
would've.
that.
I think they would've.
They're gonna try to get him to turn into a guy who can stick
He
corner
made his
threes.
first career three like 2 weeks ago.
Lord
Yeah.
did?
Time Lord, yeah, in the corner.
The Lord?
Yeah, the Lord did.
What do you think the plan is for Porzingis? He played 23 minutes. Obviously, they won that game in a massive blowout. Is he going to sit back-to-backs? Is he have any kind of minutes? Or what do you think the plan is?
He kind of alluded to it the other day that he was going to sit on back-to-backs.
Yep.
It's going to kind of be similar to what it was last year. But he said there's no crazy restrictions to what he's on now.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely going to be some sort of minute restrictions because you don't go from 5 months of recovery to just a full go. Like this is still the part of him ramping up. Like that's when he went to the G League scrimmage. They said he was part of ramping up his rehab. And he's still in that process even though he's back on the court. So there's going to be some sort of minute restrictions. And same like with guys like Al Horford and Drew Holiday. They're trying to lower their minutes when possible. It's going to be the same thing with Porzingis.
Do they need Porzingis to repeat? They didn't need him last year. Do they need him to do it this year?
I do think they need him to do it this year.
They need him.
Yes, I do. I think you've
So
seen
when
it this year.
he has a season-ending injury in February, you're going to come in and say the Celtics can no longer win.
I wouldn't say they can no longer win, but it would significantly change how I feel about it. Like, look at how competitive their games have been this year. They really haven't been, and I know their point differential is still over 10, but it feels like they've been in a lot of these win-ugly games. It's been a staple of this team. And then you get Kristaps Porzingis back, and it's no coincidence that they have their biggest win of the season with 32 points. Like, that's no coincidence. So, yeah, they're going to need him more so because of the physicality. Teams are playing them a little bit differently, and it's just so hard to repeat. So if you have a guy like that who Jason Tatum literally called a cheat code, you know, it goes a long way.
They got the Bulls tonight. Then they got the Cavs in Cleveland on Sunday, which should be a good one. I'm sure Cleveland's got that one circled like a mini little revenge game, just like 2 weeks after they played them the first time.
Yeah, and that's a good one for the Celtics as well because you're not going to really see a lot of top-tier talent in the Eastern Conference right now. We're not really seeing a lot of it. So you get a team like Cleveland that you can kind of see how your whole squad matches up against, like assuming they're healthy going into that. No back-to-back because they'll have a day off Saturday. So assuming you have your top six, which we haven't seen this year, it's a good test for the Celtics.
Okay. Check out his work, Justin Turpin, weei.com. Also on Twitter at Justin M. Turpin. Congrats on being a free man. Happy Thanksgiving. And get back down the hall. And we'll run the Twitch.
Keep running this
Back to Twitch I
video.
go.
Very good.
All right. Turp, we appreciate it.